Good day, everybody. Meteorologist Mark Mulliner here. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this special edition of Weather Eastern, a weekend edition. We're going into the storm into the northeast with blizzard conditions. Some of the snowfall totals, the heaviest ones, have shifted just slightly to the east, so those of you on the eastern side of the storm could be impacted by this. In this video, I have my final call snowfall map, and I'll show you where those blizzard conditions are likely to occur, and on the model data as well, the latest model data coming out. Also, the severe weather in the southeast for Friday night and Saturday. We'll take a look which areas stand the chance of seeing the best chance of tornadoes. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell button, question or comment down below. I love to read your questions or comments. Let's get the conversation going. And as always, there's timestamps down below if you wish to skip ahead. Let's get into it. All right, we take a look at the winter storm outlook, confidence, impact here. Take a look at this. Yeah, we're looking at extreme impacts up here in northeast Pennsylvania, Susquehanna region of New York, upper Susquehanna region, the Adirondacks, Catskills, parts of the Poconos, up into the White Green Mountains, parts of the Berkshires here as well. Getting up into northern New England as well. Now, the big area of high impact here all the way down into northern Alabama and northwest Georgia here in the mountains of Tennessee, the Appalachian Mountains all the way up here. And we've been inching this closer to the bigger cities. You notice it is much closer than it was last night. So we're bringing the snow totals to the east. Let me show you what I mean here. All right, so taking a look at my final call snowfall map here, this puts things in perspective. We have a large area of 6 to 8 inch totals here into the darker purple. This 3 to 6 inch range, this blue zone, darker blue zone, I have moved slightly to the east here. So the just north of New York City includes the DC area now, Philadelphia, especially the northwest suburbs here. Just west of Boston here up towards Worcester and down towards Hartford, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow. And then you quickly get into the 6 inch line. 6 inch line is very expansive. And then 8 to 12 inches, a good bet here into the pink shading. And you see some of these lighter pinks here. These are where we could see the 12 to 18. So right around Binghamton, Syracuse, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, I think you're going to see a solid foot right near. And Albany, you're borderline right in between that 8 to 12 inch line here. So you could see a solid 8 to 12 inches in the Albany area as well as Burlington. Parts of the Adirondacks could get upwards of 18 inches, especially the eastern Adirondacks. And you get into northern New England here, 18 to 24 inches. So and it's looking really interesting even towards the Harrisburg area. I've filled this in with 6 to 8 inches as the models have really come in, and I'll show you what the models have done with their eastward jaunt. So we'll be watching it for you here in DC and the suburbs here to the west here, as well as the 6 inch line creeps slowly to the east here. All right, taking a look at the NAM model, I'm going to start off with snowfall accumulations, cutting right to the chase. And as you can see, this is the model that I'm really interested in. We are in the mesoscale window of opportunity here. We might as well use this model and look at this. This is almost the model that's pretty well spot on with my snowfall map. And this is the one I've been really paying attention to once we've got into this 48 to 72 hour window here. Take a look at this. If you are in these red shadings here, you want to prepare for a major intense snowstorm with potentially blizzard conditions with wind gusts of 40 miles per hour at least. Wilkes-Barre, Scranton around a foot. Look at this, southern Poconos getting into a foot. Right around 9 inches in Binghamton. Could outperform some of these heavier bands that do move to the west in Binghamton and Elmira. You still could get higher totals than this. Look at this. See the South Hills here. Tully, New York, south of Syracuse, 15 inches. Albany right around 14 inches. 11 inches in Poughkeepsie. Right around, look at that, 9 inches near Orange County, New York here. And New York City right around an inch. But then you go into New Jersey here. Look at this. We've moved warning criteria snowfalls here on this model. And it's quite remarkable. Look at that, even 8 inches here in Harrisburg. Areas we didn't even have winter storm watches in 24 or 48 hours ago. Now we're dealing with this possibility. And look at this. We're getting into Washington, D.C. on the NAM. It is showing that we could have high-end advisory criteria snowfall here, potentially low-end warning. So this is interesting. This has been the trend to shift this total band to the east here as this low pressure is going to ride out over the ocean and create a nor'easter type scenario here. And then we have a sharp cutoff. A lot of this snow has already been falling back to the west, so that's why we have this sharp cutoff. Erie, Pennsylvania around 7 inches, 6 inches in Buffalo. Pittsburgh around 5 inches. Some of this might be on the low end because It's not going to be, wow, yeah, some of these totals, it is a high-resolution model, so we get some feedback, but this is the overall trend here, so you want to take note of that. If we go over to the GFS model here, let's take a look at that. It's good as a generalized picture. The GFS axis, if you take a look, the average axis of the heaviest snow is a little bit further to the northwest, obviously, than the NAM. Still, the possibility that some of these heavier bands, like I said, could get into the southern tier, central southern tier, northern Susquehanna region of New York and Pennsylvania. And this model is kind of starting to slowly come around to the Poconos and Catskills are really going to get hammered here. It's not quite there yet, but there you have it. And if we go over to, let's see, the high resolution Euro, it's a bit conservative on the amounts. Not going to lie there, but look at this, 8 inches. You get the general idea, though. The trend is for these significant snowfall totals in the purple here that are 6 to 8, 9, 10 inches to move to the east here. Now, the Euro isn't the best at handling mesoscale bands of snowfall, so it's not going to really pile up some of these heavier bands that are going to get into the 12, 16, 20-inch category, but this is the idea you get here. And if we switch over here to the Canadian model, you'll see the Canadian has shifted some of the heavier snow further to the east. This is kind of lagging, though, because it's still showing a bias here to the northwest. Here we go. I wanted to show you the rapid refresh here model as well, another mesoscale model that's really good with near-term events like this. You can see here across upstate New York here, we're really getting into some totals here south of Syracuse, 18, 19 inches, 20 inches there in southern Cayuga County, Onondaga County. Getting into the Catskills here, the Poconos, getting into those 15, 16, 17, 18-inch totals here, Endless Mountains region, 15 inches there. So we have to watch this. And then here in Vermont and New Hampshire, northern New Hampshire and northern Maine as well. So this could be looking at the area here, as I was showing you on the NAM as well. That's going to be the problem area for this mesoscale banding that sets up on the northwest side of the low pressure system. All right, so taking a look at the northeast here, we will basically look at simulated radar here. This was what this model is, NAM 3 kilometer. So as we head throughout the night, this is heading on into the early morning hours of Saturday morning. So you got the rain snow line pretty much moving through the Binghamton area right around, this is about 1, 2 a.m. here. So you're going to start switching over to snow a lot earlier here in the northeast. And as you can see this big moisture plume down here around Washington, D.C. and over towards just southwest of Philadelphia here. See how as it starts to move in, it quickly changes to heavy wet snow here in even Harrisburg up to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. Look at this, Binghamton. We're already into moderate snow by this time of sunrise. Look at this. See this slug of moisture moving northward here? It is moving into this rapidly moving eastward front. And so the rain-snow line is rapidly winning out here as the cold air wins out as it moves to the east. New Jersey's basically the only one, as well as Delaware and eastern Maryland, that have rain. And by this point, look at this, mid-morning, D.C. has even changed over to snow. Albany, up to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Binghamton, Williamsport, we're all socked in with snow all the way up to the Adirondacks and to Vermont. And look at this, the rain-snow line starts to slow down here in eastern or western New Jersey here. This is just before the noon hour. But look at this, as we approach noon hour, we're getting into some of these heavier bands here in the Poconos and Catskills. These will be moving in from the east as we get this easterly flow, southeasterly flow. And look at this, the rain-snow line moving through New York City right around noon here, and we're starting to get some mixture up in here, parts of Connecticut, rain-snow line. We're not going to have any ice with this system. We don't have any warm air overriding cold air, so that's the good news. But we're continuing with moderate to heavy snow back in through the I-81 corridor here into upstate New York, into eastern Pennsylvania, and that snow shower is continuing down into Washington, D.C. here. As you can see, we don't start to pull this away here until, look at this, is a 976 millibar low. So we start to pull this away pretty much during the evening hours. We're still dealing with heavy snow here into parts of New England, and lake effect snow showers start to kick in here. So if we take a look at some of the other models here, I'll show you. They're pretty similar here. So you got the Euro. This is sunrise on Saturday morning. Look at this band of moderate to heavy snow from southwest to northeast across Harrisburg up to Williamsport, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Binghamton, Utica, all the way up to Glens Falls and Burlington, Vermont. And look at how the things really intensify here. The Poconos, the Catskills, you're really going to be getting hammered here. Even some of the Hudson Valley region, I'm a bit concerned about at this point. And then you get, as the rain-snow line moves east, you're going to even get a burst of heavier snow in western Long Island, right around New York City as well. And there's noon hour, and then we get into the mid to late afternoon. Take a look at that snowfall moving to the east. Look at that line of convection out here over the open Atlantic, and snow showers continue as winds howl during the evening here. And we take over to the, let's take a look at the GFS. We'll briefly take a look at that. We head into the morning hour, sunrise. There's that heavy precipitation, heavy snow taking effect across upstate New York, eastern Pennsylvania. Look at that. Really coming in with some intense snowfall rates here into the lower Hudson Valley, the eastern Catskills, the Poconos, and even spinning some of these heavier bands. Like I said, Binghamton, you're not completely out of the woods from these mesoscale bands that could produce 1-2 inches per hour, maybe even 3 inches here into the western Catskills and Poconos. And then here we go. Noon hour, we start to pull some of the heaviest snow away on the GFS into northern New England, and then there it is. Look at that. Howling winds and lake effect snow behind it here. All right, so taking a look at the national view on the snowfall totals. Here is the NAM 3 kilometer. Take a look at that snow stretching from the northern parts of Mississippi, Alabama, North Georgia mountains into eastern Tennessee, Kentucky, all the way up into Pennsylvania, New York. Look at this, even northern Virginia getting in on it. And then some of the heaviest snow axis shifting a little bit further to the east here in the Poconos, Catskills, and up through northern New England here. So if we take a look at the high-resolution Euro, let's put this into motion here. Let's make sure we have the latest run. And let's run that through. There we go. So here we go. So we have the snowfall totals. Euro's pretty consistent here. It's a little more conservative than the other models, but you get the idea here. A large swath of snow in the eastern Ohio Valley, and then stretching up into the northeast here and into New England. And if we get the GFS, there's the southern states as well. And you get the southern states here. Make sure we got the latest. There we go. Take a look at this. So we got significant snow. Look at that. The GFS is outputting 7 inches in northwest Georgia, northeast Alabama, all the way up through Pittsburgh. And then Binghamton, look at that, 6 to 12 inches all the way up into northern New England here. All right, taking a look at the NAM 3 kilometer, it is basically simulated radar at this point. Take a look. This is heading into, here we go, about midnight, Friday night here. Low pressure right around New Orleans. See that heavy snow, moderate snow that's been continuing in places like Cleveland, Erie, Buffalo, down to eastern Ohio. This is going to continue. Low pressure winding up here over Georgia. And look at that. Showers and thunderstorms really continuing to blossom here across the Panhandle of Florida up into the Carolinas as we head towards sunrise here. We're going to be dealing with a sunrise severe weather outbreak here. Isolated tornadoes as well. And then onto the northeast, look at this. You've already switched over to snow. Harrisburg, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Binghamton, Williamsport. You're already starting to get heavy snow by this point. Take a look at this. Low pressure. The NAM's taking it a little bit further off the coast here than the GFS and the Euro. And look at that. We continue to ride that back up here, and snow continuing into the noon hour from the I-81 corridor on eastward here into New England. So some of these heavier snow accumulations are going to be a tad further east than was originally expected. All right, taking a look at the GFS here, we're going to start off with a real early morning hours of Saturday morning. There's that low over North Georgia. And I'm going to show you with the GFS here. As we put this into motion, not only do we have this damaging wind tornado threat here across the Panhandle of Florida into South Georgia, and then into the Carolinas here. See this heavy snow band here? Watch as I put this into motion. Yes, you have this heavy snow band oriented up into New York, Pennsylvania as well. But look, see this rain snow line? It's a lot further east than it was previous runs. That means eastern Pennsylvania, the Poconos, Catskills, are going to get into even Harrisburg area. You're going to get a lot more snow than was originally predicted. And look at this convective line from South Jersey all the way down to Florida. Could be dealing with damaging wind, large hail, frequent lightning, isolated tornadoes. Look at that heavy snow there across eastern Pennsylvania and downstate New York here, just northwest of New York City. This is kind of concerning here because the cold air really has made it pretty far to the east, much further east than previous model runs, and then we kick some snow here into New England as well. further east than was originally predicted. And look at all these howling winds behind it here. If we take a look at the GFS high resolution, or the Euro high resolution for that matter, let's kick this into motion here. We got across the southeast. Yep, we got the same sort of, look at all that convection there across the panhandle of Florida. Overnight, Friday night, Saturday morning, that is going to be under the gun here. Take a look at that heavy snow all the way down to northern Alabama, northwest Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, all these eastern areas of Kentucky, Tennessee, all the way up into New York State. Now watch the rain snow line. By this point, sunrise, it's all the way through Harrisburg already. So you've switched over to moderate to heavy snow. Look at this severe weather outbreak going on from the Carolinas southward to Florida. And look at that low pressure winding up off the coast here. This is some tremendous snow here in the Catskills, Poconos, the Hudson Valley too. We're really getting in on it. What has just happened there? There we go. Okay, so as the low continues to move up the coast here, we got a 983 millibar low. Look at that. So we got the snow wrapping around here into New England. And look at that, 977 millibars. Look at that. Even out over the ocean, you got this line of convection going on. All right, so taking a look at this severe weather outbreak overnight here in the southeast, take a look at this. This is heading towards like 4 to 5 hours before sunrise. This is where we really start to see things come together for severe weather. You got the low over western Georgia here. And see these squall lines really start to develop. This is going to become the primary predominant severe weather maker beyond where the supercells begin in the panhandle of Florida. So look at this. How things solidify into this massive squall line. There's still going to be a tornado potential, but it'll be more of a damaging straight line wind, large hail event. And don't get me wrong, there could be some tornadoes that spin up within this main line that rotate. So we're still going to have that problem. And the problem is these are going to be nocturnal storms. Now we get to sunrise here. As you're getting your cup of coffee, you're going to be dealing with tremendous amount of thunderstorm action from North Carolina down into South Carolina, and then stretching down into right around Macon, Georgia, east of Macon here. And look at that. We get into the panhandle of Florida, and Florida's going to have to deal with this throughout the day, because as I put this into motion, this continues to the southeast. We continue to push the line further south and east, and there into North Carolina, I'm very concerned about severe weather up in here. I will be showing you zoom in as well. And as you head throughout the day, thankfully this line does start to weaken as it heads into Florida. Now if we head to the mid-Atlantic, let me show you this line. As it pushes to the northeast, we have that initial shot of rain, but look at this. Here it is. Saturday morning, I got the low near just north of Virginia Beach, and then this squall line. It's getting up into southeastern Virginia now. These will be more elevated storms, so you won't have to deal with tremendous amount of damage. But in North Carolina, this is where the problem lies here into South Carolina. So we put this into motion. As we get towards the Outer Banks in the heating of the day here towards noon, I am concerned some of these cells could produce some tremendous amount of wind, hail, and some isolated tornadoes here. And look at that, convection showing all the way up here just east of the eastern tip of Long Island and stretching down along the Gulf Stream here. And that, look at that. Let's back that up. Look at snow is actually pivoting eastward towards Virginia Beach here. So you could pick up a light dusting as this band of snow moves east. Now, taking a look at severe weather, starting off with the mid-Atlantic here. This is for overnight Friday into early Saturday morning. Am concerned. There's a slight risk in Virginia Beach, but the big deal here is around Raleigh, and it's heading southwest here across central part of South Carolina and heading into Georgia. And this is where you'll start to see there'll be a tornado threat, about a 5% getting up here into parts of southern North Carolina, much of central South Carolina, and then eastern Georgia here. The hail threat is pretty much nothing, which is good news, but the wind threat is pretty high as well, 15% up in the Raleigh-Durham area, stretching southwestward here into South Carolina. So, and here we go for the southeast. This is overnight, Friday night into early Saturday morning. There's that enhanced risk as these thunderstorms, these individual supercells initially come on shore, but there's going to be the squall line. So we still have the threat here back towards New Orleans, south of Atlanta here, stretching up to North Carolina, and then into the peninsula here north of Orlando and Tampa. So you're not in it overnight, thankfully, but this is the zone. And if we take a look at the tornado threat, I am very concerned. There is a 10% chance of tornadoes around Panama City over towards South Georgia here. So you're going to want to watch. This is going to be, a lot of this will be nocturnal. are showing up right around sunrise, so things are not looking good. Hail threat, it's kind of there, 5%, but it's not as big of a deal. And then the damaging wind threat, 30% chance here in the panhandle of Florida up into South Georgia. This is a tremendous deal here. And as we head into the day 2 categorical here from the SPC, take a look at this, heading down and towards Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, and all the way up into, look at this, this is the enhanced. This is up towards Columbia, South Carolina, in the Outer Banks of eastern North Carolina. We're dealing with an enhanced risk. This is what I'm really concerned about. Still concerned here in Florida. And take a look at the tornado threat. There it is. 5% chance from the Florida Peninsula, right around Tampa, up to Columbia, South Carolina, and then the Outer Banks. And then hail threat down in through Florida in eastern North Carolina here. And there's that wind threat. Really big wind threat there. 30% up into eastern part of North Carolina and eastern South Carolina here. All right, so I wanted to go over the wind field with this system. This storm system is going to have a big mega wind field with it. So if we put this into motion during the day or during the overnight hours of Friday night, you have initial shot of wind here. This is with the front that's moving in. So you see where the front is. That's where the wind kind of dies down. Then you get northwest winds behind it. We got these strong south and southeasterly winds ahead of it, bringing up that warm air. You got 33 mile per hour wind gusts. But as we put this into motion, you can see exactly where the front is. Look at that. That's the beauty of these mesoscale models. And watch these winds start to intensify. You start to see down towards east of Johnstown and Altoona, Pennsylvania, 35 mile per hour wind gusts. These are southerly winds up here into New England as that front winds move south out ahead of it. And look at this. During the daytime hours, as low pressure really starts to wind up here along the coast, look at this core of wind here. Down into Washington, D.C., 39 miles per hour. Harrisburg, 30 miles per hour. 27 here up in Binghamton, New York. As we continue to put this into motion, the Poconos, the Catskills, southeastern Pennsylvania, look at that. Down towards D.C., 44 miles per hour. 32 miles per hour here in Albany. You still have calm winds over here in New England, but enjoy it, because watch this. As we put this into motion, this storm really starts to intensify. We go towards noon hour here on Saturday. This is where a lot of the light, fluffy accumulating snow will occur. So the blowing and the drifting and blizzard-like conditions will be pretty intense. Look at that, 35 to 40 mile per hour gusts. It's going to create blizzard conditions. And then you get down towards the coast, you start to get into wind gusts near 50 miles per hour. So you're going to be dealing with howling winds. And then behind it here, this wind's going to kick in out of the northwest and start really howling as this low pressure pulls away. You see these winds intensify. So even after the snow ends, look at this, 43 miles per hour in Binghamton, 32 in Syracuse, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, right around 40. Look at this, Cape Cod around 50 miles an hour. And then we start to bring these core of heavier winds up here into New England too, so we'll start to blow and drift that snow around. Even snow that's fallen down to D.C., 40 miles per hour, 39 miles per hour in Harrisburg. And look at this, we're dealing with heavy winds pretty much all night into Sunday morning. All right, I wanted to show you the temperatures here. Let's take a look at the temperature map. So Friday night here, as we're going into... There's the rain snow line. This is about 4 to 5 hours before sunrise here. So take a look at this. It's going to be a pretty sharp line. Wilkes-Barre, you're still around 38, 39 degrees here. Binghamton, you're down to 32. So at this point, all of western New York and western Pennsylvania has switched over to snow. So as we push that rain snow, that freezing line further east here, take a look at this. We really get into some of these really intense low temperatures. So as we head throughout the day, 18 degrees in Binghamton. That's why it says the early day highs, they're going to be earlier in the day because your temperatures are going to tumble throughout the day. Look at this. We're down to 33 in New York City right around noon here. So you're pretty much changing over to all snow in all these areas. And this, where it gets into the upper teens, that's where you're really going to get the fluff factor. That's why I think some of the snowfall totals are a little on the light side despite the system moving so quickly, is because when you get that fluff factor, that light fluffy snow, you're going to have some good snow growth potential here, greater than a 10-to-1 ratio here. So look at that. That cold air moves east throughout the night, and look at these overnight lows, getting down into the teens, low teens in many areas here, 17 in Albany. Look at that, down to 19 in New York City. Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, right around 9 degrees. This is some pretty intense cold all the way back 8 degrees in Erie, Pennsylvania. Extended outlook for my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna River Basin, Friday night through Tuesday. Take a look at this Friday night. Rain changing to snow pretty quickly, dropping all the way down to 24 by nearly sunrise. 2 inches of snow likely by Saturday. The wind will be starting to howl. Blizzard conditions, especially from about 11 a.m. all the way up to 5 p.m. We're looking at about 10 inches of additional snow, so that's going to bring us close to that foot of snow that I'm forecasting, and then those winds continue to howl into Saturday night. Look at that, getting down to 11 on Sunday morning. Maybe some breaks in clouds with sun barely making it to 30, but look at this. A warming trend for Monday and Tuesday. The great meltdown begins. 52 and 51 with clouds rolling in for Tuesday. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern. Don't forget to go over to my social media page, like me on Facebook at MeteoMark. Also, Weather Northeastern. You can find me on Twitter at Weather Eastern, MeteoMark.com and WeatherNortheastern.com. Also, don't forget, question or comment down below. I love to read your questions or comments. Smash that like button and share this video with everybody you know.